And if it's Thursday, around 8 o'clock, then you know what it is. It's fishing and hunting today. And I have the privilege and the honor of introducing one of the Hall of Famers of the media game. And that would be none other than Mr. Jerry Cripp himself, along with the owner of Mountain View Camp, Mr. Mark Kluding. Blind River, Ontario, Ohio is in the building today. And with all that being said, you can take it over, Mr. Cripp. We're waiting on you guys.
There you go. Well, thanks, Sydney, for that opening up there in Canada. And tell you what, Mark, did you ever think you'd hear the word that we're going to be open up in Canada again?
Well, I was sure hoping we'd hear it. I wish we'd have heard it a year ago. But
oh, my
we're all ready.
And, you know, I'll tell you what. First of all, and we'll get into what you had to go through and what Canada has been going through and what people here that enjoy coming up to Canada have been going through, and people that have got property up there, and it goes on, but we'll touch a bit on that. But really now, with what kind of a crowd, I guess, would be a good way to say it. Do you think it's going to be flooding the border come August 9th? Do you think it's going to be in an extremely busy time?
Oh, I think the border's going to be very busy once they get open there, and everybody gets their, they have to have both shots.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have proof of the vaccinations, and there's also it's called Arrive Can. It goes on your phone, and so you put your information into that, and then they have to present that at the border.
Okay. So there's a few hoops that have to go through to get across.
Yes, there is.
Now, as far as you guys are Canadian citizens, what are you still dealing with now? Are you still masked up there? Is it hard to get vaccines, or how's all that going for you?
Well, we still have to wear masks when you go into a store or anything. Mm-hmm. And as far as getting the vaccines, I guess they're getting those out to the people as fast as they can.
What's the estimated population of Canada? You have just a wild guess. What do you think it is?
Oh, geez.
12, 15 million at least, or many more than that, isn't it? You probably got that in Ontario.
Oh, yes, there'd be that many in Ontario. I mean, they say that 90% of the population is, like 100 miles north of the border.
37.59 million.
There you go.
I had to look it up. I wanted to, shout out to Google for helping me with that.
Well, thanks, Sidney. There you go. We should just ask him. We would have been better off instead of trying to guess.
I'm the stats guy today. I'm just Googling. Don't mind me. 37.59 million. Oh, my goodness.
Well, and you look at the square mileage, when you think 30, okay, there's a lot of miles up there in Canada, my God, and that means 37.9 million people spread out over a lot of territory. It's going to take a while to get everybody vaccinated up there, isn't it, Mark?
Oh, it is. Yes, I forget what the percentages are right now, but they're doing their best. They're catching up.
Now, I know we've heard, too, now, the Toronto Blue Jays, they've been playing their games down in Dunedin, down in Florida. Are they back now, or are they coming back about the same time? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to assume they're going to probably be back. I heard they were coming back, but I don't recall the exact date that they were going to be back in Toronto to be playing their game. So it's been a long haul, though, to get to this point, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah, a lot of uncertainty and a lot of, I guess, they'd say we're supposed to be open a certain date, and that date would get here, and they'd change it, and it just kept going and going and going.
So are you feeling that there's still some, could be like with these variants that there's a third variant now. You got the Delta, and I forget the name of the other one that's showing up. Is there any concern that as these variants show up that there may be more closures up there?
Oh, well, I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Now, bring it a little closer to home. Your little town there, Blind River. How they have got to, the merchants and the little small business owners there. They have really got to be suffering, aren't they?
Oh yes, small, because Blind River, there's a population of 3,600.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not too big, and yes, the businesses they're hurt. You know, they felt it.
Your restaurants up there, Mark, were they completely closed, or were they allowed to be like carry? They were completely closed?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Unbelievable. Have they been closed this entire period?
They just opened, I think it was the 5th, that they were allowed to open up again.
So they wouldn't even allow them to do carry-out food or things like that?
Yes, there was carry-out.
Okay. Good. Thank
God. I know the pizza places were doing very well.
Well, they were probably considered mandatory have-to-have kind of openings. You have to have the pizza store open, and if you had a beer, you had to have a beer store open. You have to go. Unbelievable. And how about your grocery store? I'm assuming they were allowed to be open, I hope.
Oh, yes, they were open. Yeah, just only so many people in the store at one time, and there was a line up outside. And
give people. And you probably. I'm surprised you didn't have to take a number and call back and set an appointment to go to the store.
Don't give them any ideas.
Oh God! There you go. Now give people an idea now too. You sell gas up in Canada by the liter. And there's 4 liters for our listeners to a gallon. Give them an idea how much a liter of fuel is right now.
I believe it's about $1.42 a liter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's times 4.
Almost times $6 a gallon.
Yeah.
Close to $6 a gallon.
Wow.
Where were you with fuel a year ago today? Do you recall what it was a liter then?
I think in the last year, a year and a half, it went right at or below $1.
There you go. So you're up you're up almost $2, aren't you?
Yeah.
$2 a gallon in 1 year.
Right.
With no ceiling on that, probably in the near future, I would think your prices could probably go up.
Oh, I suppose they could, but I hope not.
I agree. And the pipeline closures was such a silly thing to have happen. And I don't think if all that would not have happened, I don't think you'd be paying almost $6 a gallon for gas up in Canada. That's for sure.
Oh no, I don't think we would either.
There's just absolutely no way. And such a silly thing to do, to do that. We were self-sufficient.
Right, and the millions of people that were put out of work over that. High
paying jobs gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about some of those guys were making over $100,000 a year on that pipeline.
Oh, yeah.
And you're talking about shutting that kind of stuff down. Well, it's just so stupid. I guess if that's the only thing you can say, it's stupid. It just doesn't make any sense.
No sense at all.
We were here in the States here. We were probably last year. We got below $2. We were running $1.88, I think, somewhere in that range for some fuel about a year or so ago. We're right now about $3.15, $3.18. So we're up $1.50, almost a gallon in that period of time. Not good. And I'll tell you what, then they want us to do away with our engines that we run, our gasoline engines and everything, and go on electric and power our houses by windmills. And I think they want us with a donkey in a cart, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, well, I don't know what their big plan is, but it just doesn't seem to work out for the people.
A one-eyed dog and a single-shot rifle, and I think they figured, well, we got those people where we want them, now we can do whatever we want with them. Because they, certainly after our gun issues, and, I want to ask you a question, too. Can you buy a box of ammo in Canada anywhere?
Yes. Actually,
wow.
It's cheaper than down there because nobody got into that buying frenzy up here.
Well, I'll tell you what, ammo's hard to find still down here. And you pick a caliber, and it's into the shotgun shells now. You can pretty well not find. I'll give you an example, and then we'll get into our hunting and fishing and everything we like to talk about, but this all pertains to that anyway. We had Jared Wicklund was on with us from Pheasants Forever. He was in a Cabela's, I forget what town in Minnesota, and the only thing he could find there was a couple boxes of 10-gauge waterfowl loads, and that was it. That's all they had.
Geez.
That was it in the store.
Yeah. I mean, even here at local hardware store, they've got ammo on the shelves.
There you go.
There's even, the other day I seen shotgun primers.
There you go. Some people are able to get ammo up there. That's a good thing, that's for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit of some of the things you missed, and then we'll really get people wound up about they're going to be ready to look forward to as you go ahead. Oh, and with August 9th opening, Mark, what can you look for as far as a season left before you start getting into your cold weather season up there? Can you get 2 months out of that, do you think?
It'd be close. Yeah, I think we could. I know, like, people that from the states that were booked before all this happened, we just kept rolling them over, year to year. And so we have, we have some bear hunters coming in the 1st of September. They're from Ohio, and also, fishermen for in September. So, and hopefully we get a whole lot more calls.
Do you, what you do, and you've got such a good clientele that you've got a lot of repeat business, and that's the goal, I think, with people that have resorts like you do. The goal is to have repeat people that come back and enjoy over and over. And really, you get to that point, that's really neat, and that's exciting to see that happen. So from the people last year that didn't get to come up, are they already calling you and say, hey, Mark, we're coming on a normal time the rest of this season? Like if they were a September guest, they're going to be here this September.
Oh, yeah. We've been talking to everybody quite regularly and just keeping in touch. And like I said, they already had down payments in, last year, so we just rolled them over.
And they come up, and that's a prime example. They come up, and the word of mouth, they have an enjoyable time at Mountain View. They're going to tell 10 tells 100, and that's really the best way you've got to grow your business, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, word of mouth is just, that is the best, that's for sure. We had a lady there from, she's just east of Springfield.
Oh, neat.
And around, I think, St. Mary's. Anyway, she said this would have been 50 years in a row this year. Wow. And she'd have been up here in Blind River.
Wow.
Her and her family, yeah.
Well, I told her not to count them this year because there was nothing she could do about that. So she really, if you take away that fact that there was nothing that you can do about it, she's still on a continuous run because she would have been there. She could have been.
Oh, yeah, sure she would have.
So, she's still rolling on the same deal. Same thing for sure. Yep. Well, that's good to hear. No question about that. So that's good. So are you looking, do you think you're going to have, we have that little bit of gun shy with the human nature. It takes them a little while to get back into the groove after something like this occurs. They're a little bit of, let me wait and see a little bit type of thing. But when you've got that base that you've got, like her, like some of your other clients, that is really a safety net, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's we're depending on that. And,
Yep.
and they'll be back. I know they will. There's no question about that.
Yeah. So the key is good times, and the Kluding family takes care of them, and it's a great resort, and all pluses, and that's what brings them back. That's for sure, and easy to get to, and we'll get into all of that before we let you go here this evening, so people can find out how good the roads are right to your front door. But you missed this all really the shutdown. You guys shut down, I'm assuming, March of 2020?
Yes.
And you opened up, or getting ready to open up, August 9th of 2021, so well over a year. You missed perfect timing. You missed that spring bear season of 20, didn't you?
Yes.
I bet
Yes,
that was a blow to a lot of people, wasn't it?
Oh yes. The bear hunt, that brings in a lot of revenue, and it's in the spring when you need that. You can't wait till, because that's when you're out and you're making repairs and lots of maintenance, and you just need the money coming in at that time.
Absolutely, to keep the camp open.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you missed the March 20 or the spring bear hunt of 20. You also missed the spring bear hunt of 21, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
2 spring bear hunts shot, gone. Now, here's the question. Your bear population up there has got to be big.
Yes, it should be. Once we get rolling here, we should be seeing some big bears that are going to be taken.
And you missed the fall of 20 season. And no, you didn't. That was the 20 season. You missed the fall of 20 season. You're going to make the fall of the 21 season.
Right.
And your percentage of success up there is going to be about 100%. What do you think?
Yes. I don't know why. We must be doing something wrong, but.
And you had your success ratio in 19 was 90 plus, as I recall, wasn't it? It was really high.
Oh yeah, we always 90%, or more. It's there's a lot of work to it, and nobody sees that because it takes place a month before the hunters start coming in, and tons and tons of bait, and it's a lot of work.
Do you bait those stands, Mark, prior to the season opener to get the bears accustomed to where that stand is?
Oh, yeah. We started about 30 days before season.
Okay, and your season starts September 1st?
Let's see, August 15th.
Your season starts August 15th?
Yes.
Whoa.
When they did away with the spring season back in 99, then they changed the fall from September to August 15th.
I did not know you started that. So you're a couple of weeks away from opening day.
Yes, but we actually have no hunters coming in until I think it's the 1st of September there.
Okay.
Because we did have cancellations there when we had when you couldn't get across the border. So so we had these guys there. They stuck with us, and so they'll be up here in September.
There you go. Well, that's good. Now, you set up, your stands are set with baited cans. Normally, what kind of bait, what are you guys using normally for bait? This is an all-new audience. I know we talked about this years past, but new audience every time you do this, so let's let them know what you bait with.
A lot of popcorn. We pop about 1,000 pounds of popcorn. And then on top of that, we put syrups and frostings and other sweet stuff. And we have 2 freezers now just full of frostings, anything sweet. That's what we use. We don't use any meat. That stuff stinks, and it's heavy to carry around. And,
it gets all quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that brings in the buzzards also.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And probably you would know better than I, but I'm assuming a bear would much rather have the sweet stuff than dead meat.
Oh yeah, yeah. A bear's diet is only 10% meat. So yeah,
That's what makes that bear meat good. That bear meat is pretty good stuff, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yes. Bear meat gets a bad rap. It's just like anything else. You take care of it after, it's down on the ground, and it's good.
Well, that's a great point to bring up. It's all in the field dress and in the prep once you get it to the kitchen ready to do what you're going to do with it, isn't it?
Right, yep.
You can really, really screw it up in those 2 steps, and you can really mess it up as with any big game animal, or any game animal for that matter. You can really, really mess it up in the field dress if you don't know what you're doing, that's
right.
For sure. Yeah. It's a good, dark, red, rich meat, but it's got a great flavor to it, doesn't it?
Yes. I know a lot of people, to them it tastes like beef, and to us, it does to me also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got a good texture to it. It's got a good flavor to it. And there's a lot. You can use it exactly the same way you would use beef in all kinds of dishes, and it turns out great. No question about that. And I'm sure the guys that come up to bear hunt are going to take a bit of that bear meat home with them for sure, aren't they?
Oh, they take all of it home. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's one thing. That's the law. You cannot waste bear meat.
Absolutely. And what is it? And you got all that prep and packaging and everything like that, freezer wrapping and everything can be done right there at camp?
Yes. Well, what we do, we skin it, we all quarter it and debone it, and then we freeze it. Now, if the hunters, if they want it further than that, some of them will cut it into steaks and chops. But a lot of them is taking it back home and having the like summer sausage or the beef sticks made out of it.
That comes out. It would be great for the summer sausage, and the beef sticks too. Be great for that. Right. And you can get into all your ground meat and everything like that. They can do that when they get back home too with it.
Yes.
How hard is it getting your meat back across the border coming this way? Any issues?
No, there's it's called an export permit. We fill that out. It's an extra paper. We fill that out at camp for them. That's one of the things we do a lot. There's some outfitters that, they would let that entirely up to the hunter, and a lot of times the hunter doesn't even know about it. But that's so we take care of that for the hunter. When they leave here, we make sure all their paperwork is in order.
That alone is a big plus, I'm telling you. That's very helpful, because you get to the border, you better, especially with it just getting reopened, you better have all your ducks in a row, or you're going to have some problems. Yeah,
I know we tell everybody, have the paperwork on you, ready to present to them. Don't tell them it's in the back of the truck and you got to go find it.
That's a good point. That's a great point to do, because you could sit there for a while and it may not be there that you're sitting. It may be somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
So paperwork is critical. Now let me ask you this. I'm assuming you could still get all your Canadian licenses online, but you guys have the licenses right there at camp still, don't you?
Yes. The hunting licenses you have to get here at camp.
Okay.
The fishing licenses you can get online before you even leave home.
Okay. Now, are they doing that still to fishing with all the close-ups and everything? That's back up and running, I'm assuming?
Well, I have not heard they're not going to do that, but
okay, perfect.
It just when they do it before they leave home, it's just a lot less for us to do once they get here.
Absolutely. If they forget and don't get it done, you can do it. But prefer the fishing side that they get that done before they come see you. Yes. The hunting side that has to be done there at camp. Right. Do you know offhand what a non-resident hunting license and deer tag is?
The deer tag and the bear tag are about the same. I think it's about $250 in that ballpark there.
Okay.
Fishing licenses, There's two different fishing licenses. One's a conservation, where you can, that's more catch and release. I think that's about 35. And you have the, what's the name of the other one? Anyway, the other one where you're going to take fish home with you, that's around $50.
Okay, probably smart for people to go ahead and do the 50, because if you want to catch and release, you can still do it, but if you get into some nice fish you want to keep, you've got the license that you can do it with.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
And with your tags for your bear, there's also, does that tag include your non-resident hunting license at $250, right around $250?
Yes.
Okay, so that's all inclusive. That's not bad for a bear tag. And I probably said deer tag before. We got deer down here all over, but deer tag, bear tag, right about the same up at going to your camp, and that can be done right there in camp. And season starts again. Your season starts August 15th, right around the corner, but your first hunters are coming in the first. Now, you have quite a few stands that you've got up, too, don't you? You've got quite a few different places to set people.
Yes, we run, I think there's probably about 35 different sites, bait sites that we bait. So, I mean, we could put out a whole lot more, but no, this works well.
Now, if you would have a full camp of hunters, which you probably wouldn't do, but just if you did, if you got 35 sites and 35 hunters, how would you place those people? Put their names in a hat and draw them?
No, we never have 35 hunters.
I know.
Like here at camp, maybe 8 to 10.
There you go.
That way we can manage it a whole lot better, and we can do a better job and get more guys. You spread yourself too thin.
That's a good point. Absolutely good point. Now, that, I think, too, Mark, probably has a lot to do with your success ratio being so high.
Yes, I mean, you can pay more attention to the guys and what they're doing out there, and if the bears aren't, for some reason, they move off of one bait, well, you got plenty of other baits you can move the hunter to.
Absolutely. As far as weapons go, this season open to rifle, shotgun, archery, muzzleloader, everything?
Yes. Yeah, everything opens at the same time.
Wow. So there you go. Do you have quite a few archery bear hunters up there?
Years ago we did, but now it's mostly gun. I'm going to say it's probably 85% gun. I think that a lot of that had to do with the straight wall cartridges now that you can use in Michigan and Ohio. Most of the guys are bringing like the 450s and 4570s, and that's just a great round for a bear.
Well, and you guys, now you're not limited just to straight wall cartridge up there, are you?
No, I mean you can use anything you want, but guys from Ohio, if they're gun hunting, they're probably going to have a straight wall cartridge.
Yep. And that gives them a chance maybe to bring out a gun that they weren't able to use here in Ohio ever. That gives them an opportunity. Now they can use it here, but they can bring it up there and use it up there too.
Right. Yep.
So it works out good that way. Now, how is your deer population up there? You got pretty good white-tailed deer population?
No.
Bears take care of them.
Yeah. Well, I think it has to do with the weather. If we start having snow a week before deer season comes in, you're going to see a whole lot of deer. But if the weather is mild and no snow, it's just, I don't know if they're laying tight or what it is. But I do know that we are on just half a mile north of here is a big migration route for the deer. And once the snow gets, 4 or 6 inches deep, those deer are heading west. So they yard up over in Iron Bridge, which is a little town. And you go over there, and there's just thousands of deer roaming around.
Wow.
But if the weather is mild, well, they're not moving.
Now, what is your season? Is it a pretty long season, or is it a short season for deer?
10 days.
That's it?
Yeah.
That is a short season.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun. Could it be with that kind of, because that's a lot of deer, like what you said at that one town. Could it be such a short season because the chances of success up there are probably very high? If you get into deer, you're going to get a deer?
I don't know. I know if like I said, if there's snow on the ground, you're going to get a deer. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's only a 10-day season.
That's interesting. It really, really is. I was thinking you were going to say, oh, it's just 2 months.
Oh, no. No, not for the gun. Like there is a bow season before gun season, and then a couple weeks after the gun season, there's another bow season comes in.
Okay,
but those bow seasons are only maybe 10 days also.
We run down here with archery, you probably know this, all the way from September to February.
Yeah, 4 months.
Yeah, it's a long one. It's one of the longest in the country, I think, here in Ohio. But we got a good herd here. Now, with you guys, and we've been blessed here too, we haven't had a lot of this issue of diseases here. There's a little tip of it. Pogovich, the director of the deer program here in Ohio, was telling me about 5 months ago, 6 months ago or so, and there's a bit of concern with that. I've not heard much more about it at this point, so we've been pretty blessed with that because surrounding states have had some real issues with some of this chronic wasting with these deer, but we've sort of been lucky here in Ohio, that's for sure. Now, what other hunting you got a pretty good grouse population up there?
Yes, well, that runs in cycles, okay. But I know the last few years it's been really good.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're pretty good on the dinner table too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. You pull that breast out of them, and that's some fine eating there.
I would say they get too much better when it comes to wild game than a grouse. That's for darn sure.
That's for sure.
Anything else, Mark, comes to mind that's good for hunting up there where people are up?
Well, once in a while we'll get people in for the snowshoe hares.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you're trudging through a lot of snow to get to them.
Yeah, you're using snowshoes for race, aren't you?
Yeah, that's for sure.
And when you bag one of them snowshoe hares, what's the average weight of one of them guys? About 6-8 pounds?
No, they're not as big as what you think they are. They're all fur and all legs.
And all feet.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
So you get them all cleaned up and ready to go in the frying pan. There's not too much left.
No. People think they're huge, but not. I know last winter there, once we had snow on the ground and it didn't snow for 4 or 5 days, you could really find where their runs were. Mm-hmm. And so I had put out some snares for them, which get you out in the woods and give you something to do.
Absolutely, so much better to be outdoors. I'll tell you what, and you just dress for the occasion, and you can be outdoors anytime you want to be out there. Catch it.
Oh yeah, right.
That's all it takes, just to adapt, and you're good to go. That's for sure. But now, how are they as compared to a cottontail rabbit as far as flavor? About the same?
Yeah. They are. I can't tell the difference.
Okay. Rabbit's a rabbit.
Rabbit's a rabbit, yeah.
It walks like a rabbit, it talks like it's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit.
So good. So you got big grouse hunting, cyclable. Deer hunting, not so much so. Fantastic bear hunting. If you want a good shot at bagging a black bear, the chances of being able to do that at mountain deer are almost 100% with no hunting. Because of the virus here for the period it's been closed, you should have pretty good populations. Have you had issues anywhere, Mark, where people, because of the population of bear, have been having issues with them, like doing damage and that type of thing?
No, I haven't. not nothing out of the ordinary. You know, you always have the ornery one that just makes a habit out of getting into people's cabins and stuff. But nothing out of the ordinary that I've heard.
Good. So that's good. But the population should be very good. Did they issue any estimate of what they think the population of the black bear is?
I'm sure they do, but I haven't heard or seen that lately.
Okay.
I'm sure there's something on the internet that tells us what it is or what they guess it is.
And that's there you go. We're probably very much close to what the guess is exactly. It could be an educated guess, but still when it comes down to it, it's pretty well guessed, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. No question about that. Let me ask you this, and we'll touch a little bit on the fishing real quick, because you've got some fantastic fishing opportunities up there for people. And this, fingers crossed, toes crossed, or whatever you can cross, hopefully. This is because and you're a Buckeye. A Buckeye transported up to Canada now for a number of years, but you know Ohio and your family and people this way. Lots of people here in Ohio do a Canada summer trip. It's part of their family tradition, isn't it?
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of them they've been doing it for years.
Absolutely. Generations, literally generations of families have come up to Canada, mostly fish, but now hunting too. You have to include that with them too. But they did that Canadian fishing trip, and this goes back to probably, I'm going to say 50s, late 40s. They're really starting getting popular. They like to come up for muskie and fish like that. Northern pike was a big fish too. But it was, back then, people didn't have air conditioning, all this type of stuff. They used the old way, you can't fish when it's hot here. So they started that migration to Canada, and it's continued ever since. And it really is something that they really plan on and look forward to every year. Now, with that said about that, before we get into a little bit of the fishing opportunities you offer, how bad did the closure of all these sports shows hurt not only you, but the industry up there in Canada? It would be hurt. You couldn't go talk to people about what you offer.
Yeah, I know. And I would guess some of these sports shows, they're never going to open up again, just because there was a huge amount of money lost there.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
And I know the outfitters in Northwest Ontario. They're the big outfitters, the ones that have 3-4 planes and 30 or 40 boats, and they got hurt. Their clientele is 95% U.S. And I was just listening to a lady a couple of weeks ago. She's owns a outfitting place up there, and 15 years ago they came up with the idea to start pushing the fishing their business to Canadians, just in case anything like this virus hit. It was just a guess. But they started 15 years ago, really pushing the Canadian experience to Canadians by going to shows up here, by doing a lot of advertising in the magazines and fishing regulations. And just, 2 weeks ago or whatever, she said that in the 15 years, they are still 95% Americans.
Wow.
So that was interesting. So
with all of that promo and everything that she did over that period of time, and still that many of her clients are still Americans.
Right.
Well, what about all those guys out in the prairie provinces out there where duck hunting is so big out there? They haven't had a season. They're 2 years with no season either out there.
Right.
I know out there, that's a lot of Americans go for that. They're big time for that up there. They could be close to 100% as far as their clients go with it up there. But my God, you look at all the expense that they go into snow goose hunting up there. You set a decoy for a snow goose, you're putting out 1,000 decoys, all of that equipment. and all of that stuff sitting there idle because you haven't got anybody to come up and use it. Unbelievable.
Oh, it is. It's an extreme amount of money.
And what a great point you brought up about some of these sports shows may not come back. That's a great point. I mean, you're looking at when we used the Deer and Turkey Expo here in Ohio, for an example. They've tried their damnedest to get that thing up and running again, and they just can't get it going. It was shut down. The governor here in Ohio had the area there at the fairgrounds. That was all closed. You couldn't have a group of more than 50 people, and all that stuff was going on. That was just recently lifted totally here in June, and that's just been, last month when all that stuff was lifted. But I'm telling you, and you've got the other thing too, Mark, when you do get these things back open, you keep coming with these variances of this virus, which it looks like we're going to be doing. This is not a one-and-done deal. This is going to be something that's going to be winding up being like the flu before it's all said and done, where you're going to have a shot every year, et cetera, to try and keep even at least with this. But we've only got, we're not even 50% vaccinated here in the U.S., I don't think, with a population of about 316 million. So you still got a lot of people running around here with no vaccine at all. Then you put them into a group where you're going to have a lot of people show up, like an expo, and I'm telling you, you could be in for a disaster, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I think it's going to come down to you're going to have to prove that you have the vaccines to get into large venues.
You may get to the point where you may have to have that vaccine card ready to get into your local grocery store before this is all said and done yet.
Yeah.
I mean, they're taking people's word now. They don't even ask. I mean, you know, you go to Kroger's or wherever it is that you're going to the store, they don't ask you if you got a shot or not. You go in and go out, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it may very well come to the point that this continues to rise, and we're seeing Europe is being hit very hard again with this Delta variant. 50,000 cases a day in England alone. That's crazy. That's absolutely unbelievable. And you know what happens there is coming here.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the problems here. Toronto is a hot spot for the virus. Mm-hmm. They've had problems since the beginning, but there's also an international airport there that there's flights flying in there every day.
Absolutely. They got Montreal the same way with international airport.
Yes.
So you're going to have the same issues there. And, you know, it's just a hop, skip across the border before you get into New York and Buffalo and all those areas. Now, granted, you can't get there because Canadians weren't coming to the U.S., I'm assuming, or were they able to come and go back, you know?
No, as far as I know, they cannot.
Okay, so you could not come down. Because you missed your turkey hunt, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. We haven't been down there in over a year and a half. Haven't seen any family or anything.
Well, they can't come see you, but now maybe they can, and maybe you can go the other way and see them, and maybe you guys need to meet in the middle. Wasn't there a song that said meet in the middle or something like that? Maybe you could do that. But that's hard, though, when you don't get to see the family for that period of time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, we missed I don't know how many weddings, you know, nieces and nephews getting married, but luckily there's been no deaths.
Well, thank God. Any issues in Blind River? Were they hit pretty hard as far as the people that lived there? Or any bad issues with it there?
No, I don't think there was any cases.
Because you're outdoor people and it's remote.
Yeah, well, it could be.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's good news. That's great to hear that. Well, tell us a little bit about the fish you've got to offer so every day we get them wound up about that, and then we'll tell them how easy it is to get to you right to the door.
All right. Well, we're on Lake Deborn. It's 5.5 miles long, and it's about 1.5 miles wide at the widest. And the deepest is about 115 feet, so that's where you're going to find the lake trout. And both ends are 23, 25 foot deep, so you got smallmouth, and now they're even catching some largemouth out here.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the walleye and pike. So
you got a real good pike population up there, don't you?
Yes, this is it's a good lake. It's a good lake for everything.
It's a multi-species lake for sure.
Yeah, it's fed by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 other streams, lakes come into it, or creeks, or rivers, whatever you want to call it. So the water turns over fast as far as, new water coming into it. So it's a good lake to fish.
Well, and it's interesting now, and we talked about this before, about your largemouth starting to show up there. Are you seeing a more consistent largemouth bite, or you still say it's spotted?
Oh, it's spotty,
Okay.
But they are bringing them in or catching them and taking pictures of them.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to hear because you being such a northern lake,
Yeah.
That's a warm water bass, and that's good to hear. That's interesting to hear. And your smallie up there, what do you think a good average size smallie is coming out of there?
Oh, average. There a few weeks ago they was bringing 5.5 pounders out.
Whoa!
Not every one, but I would say the average was probably, 2-3 pounds.
That's a heck of an average. That's a great average for sure, and that's a great game fish. No question about that. So I would think, if you would rank your fish up there, and like we said, it's a great multi-species lake, but when people are coming up to fish, maybe smallmouth 1, pike 2, would that be a good way to rank how they like to come up and catch what they want to catch?
Yes. I would say most of them come up here to catch pike just because you don't have the pike down there like
good point. Yeah.
But the bass, it's just usually they do well on the bass.
Well, it sounds to me like that'd be a great place in the warmer time of the year to throw a topwater bait. You're going to get some pretty good hits on that. But also with that lake, I think you could run a good medium to shallow running crankbait, and you're going to get a lot of those fish, and not only the smallies, but those pike will hit on that crankbait too.
Oh yeah, sure they will. I know they were catching a whole lot of fish in 8 to 10 foot of water, and I would have thought at that time they'd have been down a little bit deeper. Everything would have, but they were 8 to 10 foot.
Wow, that's interesting. What time of year was that?
Oh, that was middle of June. Yeah, but this year the lake, it warmed up fast. I don't know. I've never seen it this warm. It was about the second week in June we had some guys in, and it was 71 degrees already.
That's interesting because, and you look at Minnesota this year, the number of 90-degree days they've had up here in Minnesota this year is the nicest they've ever had. Northern tier warmth this year. I hope that doesn't mean 100 inches of snow to make up for it.
I hope not.
You don't need that, that's for sure. But yeah, that northern tier, the Dakotas there, they had some really, the plains in general had some really, really a lot of 90 stuff too so far. And we're in July. I can't believe it. We're almost the end of July. But, as far as warm weather, we really can go on into October. So, we may see some more 90-degree days by September even, for sure. And you're probably going to see a few more of them, I would think, also. Now, you do offer a little bit of ice fishing up there, though, too, don't you?
Yes. Last year as far as ice, we probably had 2 foot. But the snow last year, we just didn't have the snow. I think I plowed snow maybe 7 times all winter. Wow.
And for Canada and for where you are, that's not a lot, is it?
No, sometimes you do it 7 times in 3 days.
So 7 times a year, season, that's pretty good.
Yeah. The fishing was, the ice fishing there, we didn't venture out too far this year, but we were eating pike, that's for sure.
Well, good. And that's pretty good on the grill too, isn't it?
Oh, pike, yeah, it's my favorite. I'll take a pike over anything.
Yeah, that can be very, very good. Have you ever smoked them?
No.
They're good smoked. If you get a chance, if you go to smoker, give it a try. You might like that. They really are good smoked. They turn out well because of the flesh. It's got a good firm flesh to it. It works out pretty good, I think, is part of it. That's why it works out so good. But yeah, they are not bad on the old smoker, that's for sure. Well, tell people from Toledo, Ohio, Mark, how far it is to your front door.
Oh, from Toledo, it's 8 hours.
Okay. All paved roads right to your door, right?
Yeah, and actually they're paving, just this week here, they're paving our road.
So you've got brand new paved road.
Brand new paved, yeah.
In 8 hours. That 8-hour drive from Toledo to you, rest areas along the way for people?
You're coming all the way up 23 to the Sioux.
Yeah.
So, that's good driving along there. Then you have about 2 hours from the Sioux to here.
Okay. So there's no issues with anything like that as far as if you have to stop and take a break, and if you have to stop and take a break, just pull over and take a break. I guess you can safely do that for people if they had to do something like that. But 8 hours from Toledo to you, that's very that's manageable. 2 drivers, you don't need to really stop. You're going to be able to get there.
Right.
And so that makes it from where we are to you is probably right about a 12-hour run, somewhere like that, 11 to 12-hour run from where we are to where you are. So that's not bad drive at all.
Yeah.
How about as far as lead time for accommodations? What kind of lead time are you looking at now for people to give you a call if they want to come up?
If they wanted to come up like a family vacation or fishing, we're probably getting close to booked for next year already.
I can believe it. So next year is what you're looking for. I would say here, are you open for a late fall adventure, or are those pretty well booked too?
The late fall, no, we always have vacancy then. It's our busy time is when the kids are not in school.
Absolutely.
We get a whole lot of families up here.
So really, probably it's not too early then to look forward to next year as far as for a summertime trip. But if they want to come up, like maybe a couple guys, or ladies who are enjoying hunting and fishing too, male, female, when they want to come up and do a fall trip, not only fishing but maybe a little bit of hunting, you can still accommodate that for this year.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Perfect. There you go. Now, you got an 800. Give your 800 number for everyone, if you would.
Okay, that's 1-800-935-3713.
And then website?
It's mountainviewcamp.com.
So, folks, take a look. Give Mark a call. If you want an adventure that you're never going to forget and one that you're going to want to do again, well, you found the spot, Mountain View Camp, Ontario, province of Canada. They're opening back up the 9th of August. You'll be able to get from here to Canada, so might as well make that Mountain View your destination in Canada. Let's plan on, my friend. We'll get back with you. And let's talk like we do maybe towards the end of September, first part of October, and we'll see how this fall hunt went and see if everybody got you to 100% on the bear take.
All right, that sounds good. I know we're probably going to have a shorter, not as many people for the bear hunt, but it'll be a good hunt.
Absolutely. We'll see how they do, and we'll get a little update on the fall bite, too. Okay? Good. Thanks, Mark.
All right, Jay. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
You too, sir. Take care.
Okay, you too. Thanks.
And
bye.
Good luck for the reopen.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye. There you go. Mark Kluding, View Camp. Canada's opening back up August 9th. Wanted to get Mark in here. Great place to go. 8 hours from Toledo. From Dayton, Ohio area, you're probably looking at about 10-hour run. It's right to the front door. Paved roads all the way. Take a look at the website, mountainviewcamp.com. You'll find out more there for sure. Cindy, let's talk a little weather, and let's do a little bit of an NBA roundup and see what you thought of the finals. before we go this evening. So take it away, my friend. We got some weather. Go ahead and do it.
All right. Well, I guess since we had Mountain View on the day, let's start with Ontario, Canada. 73 degrees. Now, if you happen to be in Athens, Greece, where the MVP of the NBA Finals, somewhere in there he's from, it's 79 degrees. If you happen to go up to Anchorage, Alaska, 65 degrees. Honolulu, they're going to stay up in the 80s. It's 86 degrees. Helsinki, 54 degrees. San Salvador, 86. Rio de Janeiro, 70 degrees. If we go to Las Vegas, 99 degrees. That's the highest I've seen so far. If you're in London, 64 degrees. LA, 80 degrees. Madrid, 75. Mexico City, 64 degrees. If you're down there with the Dallas Cowboys, 91 degrees. Detroit, 74. Dubai, 97 degrees. Mumbai, 82 degrees. Moscow, Russia, 59 degrees. Nairobi, 61. Washington, D.C., our capital, 79 degrees. And then, if you just happen to be in Milwaukee, where the Bucks just won a championship, 75 degrees. Now, I'd like to just talk about the NBA for a little bit here because it got a little interesting. You had the Suns win the first two games, game 1 and 2. And then from there, it fell apart. It was really interesting because a lot of people thought that the Suns were just going to railroad these gentlemen because they're not what you would really consider one of the super teams where they have 3 multi-millionaire stars on their team. And I'm going to just speed this up, you guys. Basically, what I'm trying to allude to here is that I think some rings are a little sweeter than others in championships. When you have maybe like 3 or 4 all-stars that could easily be on a whole other team and you win a championship, I think it's a lot different than when you just draft a guy and put 3 or 4 players together and then they win a championship over those type of guys. So I think those championship rings taste a little different, you know. What I mean by this is Giannis himself, game 1, we didn't think he was going to play. His whole knee kind of came out of place. He comes in and plays game 1. Game 2 and 3, he scores 40 points in each game and 10 assists each game. Then you get into game 4, he was blocking like he was Shaquille O'Neal or one of the greats from the 70s or 80s. Then you get into game 5, signature dunks and alley-oops. Then you get into game 6, and it was historic. 50 points. 5 to 6 blocks. Then went down on defense again and contested 5 or 6 more shots. So about almost 10 defensive stops. Then he was 17 from 19 from the free throw line. And it was pretty much a wrap after that. You couldn't stop that. I mean, he was playing every position. He was playing guard. He was playing forward. He was playing center and dominating the whole game. The Suns couldn't answer that, which ended up concluding the score to be 98-105, the final. This is Sidney Davis reporting, your studio producer for Fishing and Hunting today's sports updates and weather. Back to you. We're going to put a bow on top of this.
Yes, we will. We're going to do that, Bill, here in a second. Great NBA wrap-up, by the way, my friend. You do it as good as anybody I've ever heard doing a wrap-up of a NBA championship. That was a great wrap-up with that. Want to mention, too, don't forget now, if you're looking for ammo, and we're going to get into, hopefully next week on the show, we'll have the National Shooting Sport Foundation on with us, fingers crossed. We'll see how their schedule is. We're going to get into this ammo situation with them, and we'll touch a little bit of what's going on with gun issues. A lot of people don't realize there is a lot of things going on right now with our guns here in this country, and we want to bring some of that up to the forefront with NSF, the National Shooting Sports Foundation. They are the voice for the industry. Our voice is the individual users, if you will, is the NRA. Well, it's no secret the NRA is going through lots and lots of problems now, and maybe we can touch a little bit with the NSF on what's going on with the NRA then. But we will hopefully have that next week. If that's not the next week show, it'll be very close to that, just depending on what their schedule is. Want to mention, too, don't forget, if you're looking for ammo, Federal Premium, shoot often, shoot lots, shoot the best. Dove season around the corner. Not hearing a lot going on in the ranges because there's not a lot of ammo available here. Ammo available in Canada. Blind River, they got it up there, but I don't think you want to drive all the way to Canada for ammo. You never know, but it is hard to find still here. But when you find it, if there's no limit on what you can purchase, go ahead and get a little bit extra. And, it takes a couple shots with the dove season. People get out and you can smoke some ammo during that dove season. So if you see your dove rounds that you like to hunt with, get what you need to get, and maybe get a box or two extra. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Then we're going to get into waterfowl season, upland season on the shotgun side, and on the deer side, we've got the straight wall cartridges we can use now. They're going to probably be hard to find too. We've got the slugs for the shotgun hunting for deer. That's probably going to be hard to find too. We'll find out all about that hopefully next week here on the show. In the meantime, when you find it, make sure it's Federal Premium. Shoot often, shoot lots, shoot Federal Premium. Good show, Sydney. Great show that you did, putting it all together. We appreciate that. Good weather report at the end. Worldwide weather, getting some worldwide temperatures. Worldwide show means worldwide weather. Wherever you are, you can hear Fishing and Hunting today. Get out and enjoy the outdoors. Till the next time. We'll see you next week. So long.